Me neither.
And he projected to go 4.
You have just tuned in to Off the Fingertips. I am your host, Jason Gilman Alexander, the protege. We're going to talk about sports and more sports the next 30 minutes. Get ready, because it's action-packed. Jason Gilman Alexander, better known as the protege. Once upon a time, I was just Jason Gillian, or Jay Gill, or Jay Gilbert. Just a student athlete. Just a kid from the neighborhood who was trying to find his way. That meant grassroots. Lots of blacktop basketball camps, playing ball in the streets with your friends against other neighborhoods, getting on your bike, traveling to other parks to play against local competition, having your local, and then you have
Everybody, the one and only, to my left, Mike on the mic.
How you doing, ladies and
And to
gentlemen?
my right, the protege is in the house.
Official.
You are in tune to Wadedifferent Live, and we're about to get into a segment off the fingertips. Let's go, Mr. Protege. What we got tonight?
We got one of the great ones, D. Kenny Anderson.
Ooh, okay.
When basketball wasn't basketball, when guards wasn't making money, Kenny opened the door for the money makers.
Before LeBron, before Lance Stevenson, before all the hoopla, Kenny Anderson really was the talk of the town as
No
far
doubt.
as a prep, being special, anointed, and really just carried that fanfare in a very special way. He was scouted in the 6th grade, had a huge Sports Illustrated article in 9th grade that really changed his life. Alonzo Mourning is in that as well. They were the best 11th and 9th graders in the country. He became an instant celebrity. You know, Sports Illustrated was the
magazine
back then, you know, before the internet.
Yeah.
So he was on the cover of a New York sports section at 14 in the back of the paper. You're talking about a 4-time parade All-American. You only get 4 years to be in high school. He was parade All-American all
Every
4
year.
years.
Yeah.
New York State Mr. Basketball's final year. McDonald's All-American. New York State Writers Player of the Year. Parade Naismith Player of the Year. USA Today Player of the Year. I mean, he had every award that was significant in undergraduate. And then when he went to college, well, actually, Shaq they thought he was the best player in the country that year, but Kenny won it over him and then didn't play in the McDonald's All-American game because he had hurt his foot or sprained his ankle.
When he come in here, we
Exactly.
need to ask him about his trophy room, because
Yeah, it's crazy.
that's crazy.
It's crazy. And so he didn't play in that game, and everybody thought Shaq and Bob Hurley, and then boom, he gets to Georgia Tech, and he had the name. So when you get to college, you got to show your game.
Yeah.
And that kid he was all ACC both years, consensus All-American in 91, NABC first team All-ACC, 2-time first team All-ACC, and then they went to the Final Four in Denver where they lost to UNLV.
Okay.
And then Duke won the other. UNLV ended up beating Duke in the national championship, but he was a freshman. He averaged 20 and 9, or 20 and 10, which was unheard of.
That's crazy as a freshman in college.
And the ACC, which was arguably the best conference in the country. You know, so he 2 years, comes out, pressure's on, goes to the draft, comes out number 2 behind Grandmama Larry Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
Kenny went 2, Dikembe Mutombo went 3, and he went to the Nets. And there he's playing for Bill Fitch, the old Boston coach, and he's riding on the bench as a rookie. It's like unheard of.
Yeah, we got to talk to him about that. That's crazy.
And so he had that year, and then they brought in a new coach, Chuck Daly, and then you had Derek Coleman, Drazen Petrovic, and that was sort of the big 3. Okay. So he's really, done a lot, and then obviously he was inducted into the New York City Basketball Hall of Fame in 2008. Well, even before that, he was an All-Star in 94. So he got drafted, All 91, All-Star 94. Then he goes through his trades, whatever. Finish up his career in 2005. He gets inducted into the New York City Basketball Hall of Fame in 2008. Had his degree in organizational leadership in 2010 from St. Thomas University, which was really huge because, you're looking at coaching, you're looking at life after basketball. You must have a degree at that stage. So that was huge. So he finished his NBA career, 12.6 points per game, 6.1 assists per game, played on the Nets, Portland, Hornets, Celtics, Atlanta Hawks.
This man been all around the NBA.
Seattle Supersonics, and I'm missing one. Who was down in New Orleans? The Hornets. Well, it was the Charlotte Hornets. Who was in New Orleans at that time? Was it the Jazz?
Oh, Jazz. Ooh.
Who was in New Orleans?
That's a long way back, boy.
New Orleans Hornets.
Well,
Right?
he played for so many teams. Even I get confused, D.
I was like, that's before my time. If the Utah Jazz is in New Orleans, I never knew that.
But, he was just a wonderful talent. He had David Falk as his agent, along with Patrick Ewing,
Okay.
Michael Jordan. That was the client roster. And he was the highest paid guard in the league, probably, 93 through 98. So
he was getting paid more than Michael Jordan,
well, not paid more, but
contract-wise.
no, just for point guards.
Okay.
Michael Jordan. Michael actually didn't take the lion's share of this salary. They had convinced Michael to take only like $3 million a year early on, so that they would have a budget to pay for the rest of the talent.
Yeah, that won't ever happen. That won't happen in this day's NBA. Everybody's trying to get their check. That's crazy.
You remember watching him play,
Old
D?
school. Yeah, of course. Of course. No doubt. That's why I told you about the money. Guards wasn't making money back in them days.
Yeah. He was a special player. I mean, today kids look to go prep to pro as soon as they're like in middle school, but he could have done it. He really didn't need 2 years at Georgia Tech. I mean, he really came in averaging 20 and 10 back when going early in the draft wasn't popular. Guys stayed 4 years. So you had more grown men playing college basketball. The game was just more mature, it was much more physical. And for what he was able to do at 6'1", 6'2", well, Mike's not sure. He's listed at 6 feet, but he's like 6'1", 6'2". Yeah. What, 150 pounds soaking wet? People was like, oh, he's not big enough. But you can't really touch or be physical with what you can't touch. He was
That's
so
facts.
quick.
Yeah.
And then, I went to high school with him, so I'm backing him up in practice, Remember the first day I get to Malloy, Dean Smith comes in there, oh, we've heard a lot about you. Keep doing your schoolwork, we'll be watching you. This was my first day as a freshman. So we play pickup, you come in the gym, we choose the teams. You got Lou Carnesecca from St. John's, Digger Phelps from Notre Dame, Jim Boeheim from Syracuse, Bob Knight from Indiana, Bob Crimmins from Georgia Tech, all the main, Dean Smith, North Carolina, all the main coaches are sitting there. We choose up the teams, and then everybody's got, well, I got D and I got Mike, right? So nobody wants to say they got Kenny, right? But everybody's picking somebody to guard but him. Then I'm like, I got him, and
Was that a mistake at the time?
no, like I had practiced with him and trained against him already, so I just was a freshman, so you thinking upperclassmen would really want that opportunity.
But nobody wanted that
Nobody
smoke.
wanted that smoke.
Nobody didn't want that smoke.
And, so I'm guarding him, and that's when I started to understand just how good he was, how fast, how quick he could change directions.
Yeah.
That he could do all of that with his head up. So even when you cut him off, he could
Dish it.
he could dish. So you never really could stop him. The best case is you could try to contain him. And he just had this boyish charm, man. He laughed, he giggled, like he never let you see him sweat. And
No. You never seen him argue too much on court.
no,
None of that.
he just played his game. And ultimately, that's why I went to Malloy. Aside from the academics, one of the best high schools in New York State, private. Vincent Smith, our mentor, was there, older brother of Kenny the Jet Smith, who had went to Malloy. So it was like a tradition. So for me to have the opportunity to go there, knowing he was 2 years ahead of me, I knew I wasn't going to unseat him at his position, but you wanted to learn from him,
No
play
doubt.
against him, And then our school was just a preeminent school athletically for basketball and academically. So just a tremendous opportunity. And what I remember most about him in high school was that our classes began at 8:10 every day. He would get to school every day at 7 a.m. and he would study with like brainiacs, real intelligent kids, and he would get his work done every day. And I just was like, wow, you know, this is what high school was really about. And this is what you do when you really want to get to college, because in our era, playing college ball at Big East schools or ACC schools, that was everything.
Yeah.
Like coming on TV, you know, being able to have your friends and family see you, you know, that was the big thing. So, you know, being Kenny's understudy had pros and cons because you could never be as good as him. But at the end of the day, if Kenny was, say, maybe the stars, if you could just be an ozone layer or the moon, you felt like you were in the same stratosphere as him. And then playing against him, the #1 player in the country, arguably, so iron sharpens iron. So then when I play against kids my own age or other tournaments, other places, I'm like a pit bull.
Giving work.
I'm playing against the #1 player in practice in the country in practice every day. In front of
That
all
had
the
to be
main coaches.
amazing.
It really
Yeah,
was.
it's like what we talk about synergy. You know, you around somebody who has that work ethic is only gonna make you better.
So at this time, I want to bring in Kenny Anderson, better known as Chibs. Can we have him brought in, please?
Where Chib's at?
Bring in the main man.
The great one, Kenneth
Put the
Anderson.
claps on.
What's up, man?
What's up, Kenny?
Well, I'm sitting right here.
Right here, sir. Right here, sir. How you doing, sir?
The great one,
What's up, man?
Chibba Dibba.
So if you're just tuning in, we got the great
Okay.
Kenny Anderson as our special guest.
Oh, man.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you, man. It's amazing to even just be sitting
And the
next
legend's
to the
presence.
greatness.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Thank you so much. And thanks to Scott Jason for just giving me all the props. You know what I mean? And thanks for having me on the show.
We appreciate you.
It's great for being here.
No doubt, no doubt. Protege, take over. What you got?
Well, before we get into it, we're going to take a commercial break, let him settle in, have a couple of words, and we'll be right back with you guys.
All right. Off the fingertips.
You're watching The Way Different, so like and subscribe, and we'll be right back.
For great organizations, the Overtown Youth Center, Seminole County Public Schools, my own organization, Mentoring Viral Proteges Inc., Dibia Athletics. What can I say about hosting and making people feel comforted, making feel a part? This is who I am. I engage people. People engage me. That healthy exchange of energy is hosting. Creating a platform for everyone to walk on, assimilate, rub elbows, exchange ideas, share laughter, fellowship over meals, ideas, stories, to help pick people up in times of despair, to inspire them in times of weakness. You have
about it because you weren't born yet. So this is a tour that you need to be a part of. It gives the rich culture and the history behind Overtown. That's your clothing line, QB.
We are back on Off the Fingertips with the protege, D Wade, my boy Mike,
How you doing, sir?
K.A. This show is official. It really is.
Really is.
K.A., let's talk a little bit about you the young prep star, the little boy, the grassroots kid running around Queens. You didn't always live in Left Rack.
Well, I lived in Jamaica, Southside Jamaica, from 1 to 9. You know, my grandfather's house, and my mom's. You know, things got a little rough over there. And she's like, "Yo, let's go somewhere. We're gonna live on our own, and we're gonna, try it that way." So I moved to Left Rack City, and in 1979, which is I was 9 years old back then, and it was great.
Left Rack City. Tell me something about that. I don't know nothing about Left Rack City.
Left Rack is a high rise as you go from Queens into Manhattan.
Okay.
I don't know, 40 buildings?
Yeah, it's like four.
They all 20?
50 maybe, I don't know how many buildings it is, but about 40 to 50 buildings.
There used to be co-ops.
Co-ops.
But that whole co-op thing, sort of like, it's a fishy word because it's like projects, co-ops. What's the difference? Well, the people who live in there.
Kenny Smith.
Yeah.
He's from there.
Noriega, I heard.
Noriega.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the toast. Abdul Fox?
What's the rapper name?
I don't know.
You don't
Probably
know.
Nori.
Nori's from there. Kenny Anderson, Kenny Smith, Nori. Oh man, I don't know the name right off the tip of my dome. But
So
it's a lot of
growing up
rappers.
in that area around that time, you said 1979. That's
Yeah.
like the birth of hip hop.
Yeah.
Really. How was that?
Well, LL Cool J was the guy.
Yeah.
Hollis.
Hollis. LL Cool J was the guy.
That's
Run
right.
DMC.
Say it louder.
Those was the guys.
So you had a Kango hat?
Yo, I didn't wear Kango.
Okay.
That way. I didn't wear Kango.
He was a hooper.
I was a hooper. You know what I'm saying? I didn't wear Kango.
Okay.
So once you got the Left Rack, you had the opportunity to meet Vincent Smith or Pierre Turner. Who are they to you?
Vincent Smith, he was one of my guys who wanted me to. He wanted me to do well in school, so I went to Malloy. Pierre Turner wanted me to do well in school because those guys was on me.
Yeah,
They
Pierre
on me.
was a municipal judge,
Yeah.
and they ran Aim High, which was our organization. And when you have a judge who's at the top of the pyramid, and then you have a person like Vincent Smith, whose brother Kenny was like the guinea pig. He was the crash test dummy and went number 6 in the draft. So now you can't question the blueprint, can you, Mike?
Nah, not at all.
It's official. And so Kenny's next in line, and then they trained a lot at Lost Battalion Hall. Talk about that.
Lost Battalion Hall was great. That was if you wanted to stay out of the rain or the snow, you went into the Lost Battalion Hall.
It's like a rec center.
It's just a rec. It was a rec. It had boxing downstairs and basketball upstairs.
There's a pool in there.
There's a pool in there and everything. So I lived in there Monday through Sunday. I lived in there, and I saw a lot of guys, play ball and come and go, in that gym.
It's still there?
It's still there.
It's
It's
still
still
there.
there.
Yeah.
Lost Battalion Hall, still
That's
there.
a true.
Yeah, I heard you talking about your work ethic. Let's go back a little bit, Kenny. Who did you look up to as a basketball player when you was coming through? I mean, I'm talking about before your high school, Malloy. Who did you look up to? Because you became one of the great, but who was there ahead of you that showed you the way, that paved the way?
Well, Kenny Smith, Rod Strickland,
Rod.
Mark Jackson.
Rod Strickland was a good one. Yeah, I like that.
Those are Pearl Washington.
Pearl.
Yeah.
That's back there.
Yeah, those guys was just awesome. I watched those guys, and I love watching them play ball. And I watched Kenny Patterson.
KP.
I love how they carried themselves, and I kind of took a little bit from each of them and got with it. Got with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. I think about my playing days, and I never made it that far.
Remember when, Mike?
I think about my playing days. I was pretty good. But how was it, man, in Malloy? All of those great people that came through there, and you come out of there after those greats. How does it feel to know that you transcend to be just as great as those guys?
I really didn't know at the time. I was just going. I was just doing something that I love to do, and that's to play ball. You know, I probably would have played ball in the street.
Really?
I probably would have played ball in the street. Yeah. And then when I said, oh, it can give me this, it can give me that, I started taking it, you know, extra seriously, you know, with my schooling and all that. But I didn't really care too much about, you know, what was in it for me.
Yeah.
I just was playing ball, and it gave me thrill. It gave me that sense of urgency of life. You know what I mean?
The love of the game, Mike.
Yeah, the love of the game. It gave me. You know, I just played it.
Just to be able to say, you know what, I bust you.
Yeah.
Oop.
We can definitely say you did play it.
I took it to you.
Yeah.
Oop. You know,
Yeah.
like just to be able to walk around the neighborhood confidently, you had to really excel on the court, at least where we were from.
And then once you realize like how much talent you had after putting so much hard work, what was motivating you to get to the next level like that?
You know, people in general that came before me that just never made it, and say, hey man, you can make it. You can do something with yourself. You can do something with your life. You can get money. You can take care of your family, and that's just boom. Oh, okay. I can do that.
Light went off, yeah.
Yeah, that went off, and I just started, working that much harder.
So after Left Rack and Horse Battalion, one of the pivotal things when you got to Malloy was you were featured in a Sports Illustrated article where they selected the top middle school and high school players. And at the time, that's pre-internet.
Yeah.
So the Sports Illustrated was like the Bible for sports.
Yeah, yeah.
What did that do for you personally?
Well, what it do? It just gave me that much love in the neighborhood. Like, whoa, you in Sports Illustrated.
It solidified you.
It solidified me, and it made me, like, man, you made it. So it continued. It continued out. I wanted to become, that player.
There was a lot of players, Chibs, that was mad you showed up in that article and really wanted to go at you. How did you adjust to that?
Yeah, it'll be mad. That's New York. New York is mad. New York is going to be mad. So that was great. You know what I'm saying? That they came at me because I was always ready for it.
Yeah.
Because that's New York. Yeah, they're going to be, you got to be, you got to be ready.
Gotta be ready.
And I was ready for it.
You really was.
Yeah.
And so at Malloy, you're a 4-time New York City All-City performer. The only other player to ever accomplish that is Lou Alcindor, better known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You went on to be Parade and McDonald's All-American, Gatorade and USA Today.
Yeah, that was
Player of the
everything.
Year.
I just took everything. I just took everything, right?
took everything.
I took everything that year.
I was telling him, I said,
I did, man.
I want to see your trophy room. Like, where do you have all this?
But now, when my mother passed away, about
God
10,
bless
11, 12, about 12, 13 years, I don't know where all that stuff is. It pissed me off, but I don't have most of that stuff. But hey, it is what it is. I really don't have it. Malloy has my Naismith award, my high school.
Yeah, Player of the Year.
They had my Player of the Year award and things like that. I didn't play basketball for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just didn't. When I got it, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Here you go, Mom.
Yeah.
What's next?
When's the next game?
Yeah. What's the next game?
what's up.
I just threw it. I didn't play for the rewards or anything like that. I just played for my joy and just taking care of my mother, and I did that.
Yeah.
Which most kids dream of doing. Coming out of New York with so many great players, you think New York has better players than Chicago?
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Obvious. He gonna say
right.
yeah. Like he can't say no.
I'm gonna say yes and no. We like right there. We always talk about it. Our New York bread. It's New York, man. Come on, it's New York.
Marcus Liberty.
Marcus Liberty.
You had.
I used to play with Marcus all the time.
Yeah, you see, you got Dwayne Wade, Tim Hardaway, Antoine Walker. Isaiah Thomas, Mark
Zeke.
Aguirre. You got about
Juwan
6
Howard.
You got about 10 people.
We got about 10, 15.
You got about 10.
Kendall Gill. You can keep going.
Yo,
Kendall, you reaching
got about
on
10
that.
You got about 10 people.
KG could play though.
You got about 10
With the
people
Illinois.
there.
But New York is just-
got about 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 people that just didn't make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's New York, man.
Chicago skyline might could compete with the New York City skyline, but I don't know about the ball players.
Yeah,
though,
not the
D.
ball players.
Yo, stop it.
Not the ball players.
Chicago got gangster ball players.
No, you're right. You're
Stop
right.
playing so much. They gangster.
So, your high school career culminated with you playing in a McDonald's game. Obviously, you were hurt. Everybody thought Shaq was the player of the year. One of the great things is seeing your jersey in the National Basketball Hall of Fame to this day, alongside Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now that you're older and you can sort of put those things in perspective, is that a special feeling?
Oh yeah, well, it's definitely because I don't know if my NBA that I reach that plateau,
Yeah.
but I reached it. I reached it. My high school.
Yeah.
My high school is in there. It's next to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the best that ever played the game. It's right next to his. So hey, whatever happens, then it happens. But my high school jersey is right next to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And that's all that matters. My pro career, I could have did it a little better. But who didn't? I played 14 years. Played for New Jersey, Portland, Boston. Played for some top teams in the West. But we just couldn't win it. I played in the Jordan era, where Jordan was on fire.
No one wins.
Nobody was winning then.
Yeah.
Nobody was winning. Played in.
Well, we remember his struggle though before he started.
Yeah,
winning,
he was with Detroit. Detroit was killing them. But I played in the Boston, Lakers era with Shaq and Kobe, with the Celtics era,
Shaq and Penny era.
Shaq and Penny in the East. So
at that time, it was more about placement than like getting on the right team because you just had so many heavy hitters at that time.
Well, even before the league, he went to college as the number one guy. And with the biggest name, you had to really bring your game. What was your mindset going into your freshman season at Georgia Tech?
Oh, I just wanted to bring my game. Like you said, just kill. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's what I did. We went all the way to the Final Four. We lost to UNLV. I averaged about 20 and 10.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's
for
fire.
a freshman.
That's fire for anybody. That's
for a
fire.
freshman. And it was.
And that was more mature game because players weren't going hardship then. Guys were staying 4 years.
Yeah, Larry Johnson.
Grandmama.
We lost to Larry Johnson my freshman year. He stayed, and they had Stacey Augmon.
Right.
Greg
Anthony.
You bringing up
Anderson
some
Hunt.
Anderson Hunt. They had a crew.
Wow.
Ackles.
They had a crew. And
ran the rim as an ankle bracelet.
We lost to them guys by like 10 points. I got a little foul trouble. I thought the coach, my coach Crimmins didn't handle it right. I got a foul trouble, but I just thought he should have just kept me out and put me. I don't know. I just I don't know if we would have won, but the game we lost to about 10 points. It would have been a lot less, I think.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, if you're just tuning in, we're talking to the great Kenny Anderson, none other than Kenny Anderson. And I just want to know, the lockout. Yeah. I know you remember lockout. That's when Kevin Garnett got paid the most that was ever given to a basketball player other than probably you.
Hey,
how was that?
Before we go into that question, let's take a small commercial break, and we'll come back. You're on Off the Fingertips featuring the Protege with Kenny Anderson. We'll be right back with you.
You're watching The Wadedifferent, so like and subscribe, and we'll be right back.
I never thought or pictured myself as a teacher. But as I was given the opportunity to run and conduct some volunteer programs in Miami-Dade public schools as well as Broward schools, it was an enlightening experience. There's a program called Response to Intervention, RTI,
where students who are having difficulties socially, academically, and sometimes domestically are put in a bucket and they're worked with. They're enriched, they're remediated, and we continuously run that cycle. Coming in with my Latch-On program, leadership, academics, athletics, career development, health and wellness, twice a week, my responsibility was first to make a connection with that student, build trust, be relatable, be an excellent listener, be perceptive. I've hosted for great organizations, the Overtown.
It's off the fingertips, bro.
All right.
You can explain it, and then I'll go back in on it.
Welcome back to Off the Fingertips, featuring the protege. We got Kenny Anderson, my boy Mike, and
Sir.
D. Wade. Let's pick up where we were talking about before we left the commercial, D.
Yeah, just briefly talking about the lockout when Kevin Garnett got paid this big lump sum of money and
Like
the
the late
NBA
90s.
stopped play.
Well, it was. I think we played like 50 games.
Yeah.
It kind of hurt. It kind of hurt me. But my regiment schedule
sure.
of workout and things of that nature, and I didn't know. Kevin Garnett was got the most money that I didn't really get into
You weren't paying
money.
attention to that money
I
thing
wasn't
at that
paying
time.
attention to the money at that time because I was well off.
Well off.
So I was good, you know.
I was well off. I was always going to be well off. That's what I thought. That's what I looked at. I was like, I'm always going to be well off. I ain't worried about no money. I'm worried about getting in shape, staying in shape and playing.
He was on David Falk's roster.
Yeah.
K.A., Michael Jordan, and Patrick Ewing. So I think K.A. was the highest paid point guard in the league at that point.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, the collective bargain agreement, which is the agreement between the players and the league, it failed. And that's why they were locked out. They couldn't come to terms on the contract.
Okay, so that's what a lockout is.
That's what a lockout.
Okay.
It's where the league and the players, the union, basically says, you know what, you stay over there, I'll stay over here, pay me what we need, and then we can come back to business. And it took a while.
Okay.
So, back to college, you went to the Final Four, you played with the Lethal Weapon 3, you, Dennis Scott, Brian Oliver. You lost to UNLV in the Final Four. You came back and played 1 year, had a great year, All-American, everything. What prompted you to decide to go pro, knowing you had 2 years left in college?
Yeah, I wanted to stay. I really wasn't going. I really didn't want to leave school. I wanted to stay, but my chance, I was going 1, 2, or 3.
Why did you want to stay?
I just didn't look at it, the money, and I never looked at my life with money. I just never did. I always looked at it just on being happy.
Sure.
And I wanted to be happy, and I wanted to play the game I love, and just free, just be free. You know what I mean? But
He just liked living in Atlanta.
yeah,
Atlanta's amazing.
yeah, Atlanta
He
was
just
amazing
liked
too. Don't get
Atlanta.
me wrong. Atlanta was
He running
amazing.
around with Michael Bivins
Yeah.
and Evander
That was-
Holyfield.
That was the time when Freaknik was around. though.
Freaknik was going on
Yeah,
every
it was.
summer.
I didn't get into all that, but Freaknik and all that
He
was
was
going
like
on.
the chosen one.
So I'm guessing losing in the Final Four, it kind of motivated you to try to get back your following years. That's probably why you didn't want to leave.
I don't know that. I just didn't want to leave. I just was like really concentrating on getting back and playing better and getting championships, ACC championships, and maybe a championship. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
And then it all came out where we wasn't gonna win, because Duke and these teams was
Powerhouses.
they was getting powers. They was getting more players and things of that nature.
Yeah. So you decided to go in the draft. You come out number 2.
Yeah.
I saw you that night on Garbriel Boulevard looking for B. Brantley. I remember just the glow in your eyes. You had the Honda Accord, came to pick up little B. And it was just like, it was surreal for me, so I can't imagine how you felt.
Yeah, it was surreal, man, by making it to the NBA, making X amount of money. I was going to take care of my mother. That's the number one thing that all of this came about, was taking care of your mother.
That's what's
and
up.
When I did that, it was awesome.
But you sat your rookie year. You had Bill Fitch. It was crazy for us to watch. Like, did you sulk, or did you work, or decide to work harder? Like, what was your mindset?
I didn't get upset. I didn't sulk. I just said, hey, this is what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Let me get back and while I'm sitting here, let me just play and enjoy myself. And I played, I worked hard, and then I knew this, it was like you got 5-year deal. Hey, you're gonna be fine. But when it's just time to play, you gotta be ready to play. And that's what I was concerned with.
He was sitting behind Mookie Blaylock.
Mookie Blaylock
from Oklahoma.
Yeah, he was the man, and we had some great practices and things of that nature. I knew I could play because I was playing against him in practice every day, and I was taking it to him. So I knew it. I said, all right, when my chance comes, I'll be ready. Mm-hmm. And that's all I did. I just waited.
And then next year they brought in Chuck Daly, who had led the Pistons to the two back-to-back championships, Coach Isaiah. You had D.C., Derek Coleman, and then, one of the first true European NBA stars in Drazen Petrovic to pretty much form like a big three. What was that like?
That was great. Playing with those guys was awesome. Derek Coleman, Drazen Petrovic coming off the screen, the down screen, boom. He was a killer. You know that. And Derek Coleman he would take you inside out. We was on our way, but there you go again, Michael Jordan.
Damn, Michael.
Michael Jordan and the Knicks, Patrick Ewing, Shaquille O'Neal, and Orlando. We Mark Price, Elo,
and
Cleveland, Darley,
Brad Daugherty,
Matt Doherty.
That's when the East. That's
we
when
had
the
like
East.
4 or 5 teams.
Yeah.
Like, it was great teams. We could not. We could compete, but we couldn't.
Yeah, you were guys with top heavy. You just
was
really
top heavy, yeah.
1 through 3 you can compete, but players 4 through 10 couldn't get it done.
Yeah, somewhat. We had Chris Morris.
Chris Morris.
He was tough. He was tough.
I don't know how tough he was, Kay.
Yeah, he was tough. He had his
Chris Moore.
He had his moments.
Morris, he had his
He
moments.
shoot threes. He might dunk on you, but he always left I always felt like he could give me more.
Yeah. Yes.
Chris.
Yeah.
But how hard was it guarding Michael Jordan? I know you had your days because you had to guard all those guards.
I guard all of it. It was tough. He was big. Very, very deliberate. You know what I'm saying? And fake shot, everything. It was tough.
The machine, Black Jesus.
I heard you mention Mom, a few times.
Yeah.
Let's hear something about your dad. Was your dad in your life at any point? Well, where was he at?
My dad wasn't there, in my life. He was just one of those dudes that I just, I just didn't think about. You know what I'm saying? You don't
process it.
You don't process it. You don't think about it. You just go and just do, for your moms.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And then I met him when I was 30 years old.
Yeah.
And it was
But
great.
to kind of tag team what he said, our Aim High program, which was led by Pierre Turner, Kevin Jackson, and Vincent Smith, that was like a 3-headed father.
Yeah.
Like, Judge Pierre is a judge, and so he mentored us with an iron hand and a sharp tongue. And they had that fatherly relationship. And then Coach Curran at Malloy, so, from my position, which was an understudy, he had so much support. It was like you didn't think about him not really having his dad around. I mean, we knew it, but we were managed so well and so stern and from A to B that it was just like you didn't really miss it, so to speak, But that's a good question. So you go on to be an all-star in 94, and I think that just kind of blew the roof off things for all of us. We was just all so proud. And what was that like?
Oh, that was great. That was very telling. Like, hey, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I did it on every level now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I did on every level. What you gonna tell me? You know what I'm saying?
They froze you out in that game, though.
Yeah, they froze me out. I had like 6. I didn't really care because they wasn't giving the ball up. They wasn't. Yeah, Scotty. To this day, when I say, I be like, "Yo, man, your arm is all right."
You've been shooting on.
Get a ball up, man. No, but he didn't get a ball up. But it was all good. I took like 6 shots.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great just to be nominated and be there.
Yeah. That was incredible because it just justified all the things that our mentors and coaches would say. K would always get in my ear. He'd be at my games. And, it was just the passing of information. It was a chain of, not necessarily command, but a chain of instruction. And it just justified it. You knew that if you listened, this is what could happen for you. You could be an all-star like Kenny Anderson. So, he became the poster for all of our lives, and just was a tremendous experience. And then shortly after that, you got traded.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I got traded. I thought it was going to be better, but I got traded. I got traded from the Nets to Charlotte. Charlotte.
Like a couple of hours.
With like a couple, yeah, it was a couple of hours. I really, with Larry Johnson, Robert Parrish, Dale Carey, Glenn Rice, that was awesome for me.
Muggsy Bogues.
He got injured, so then I took over, and I played very well. I played very well there.
But they shipped you out of there.
Yeah, that's when it was, that was like my fifth year. I was on my way out. I was a free agent. I thought they was going to sign me, but Portland signed me for 7 years, 50, 60, at the
56.
time, 56 was a lot of money.
Yes, it was.
And they signed me, and it was great.
I was looking for him for a loan at that point, but you couldn't find him. He was out on the West Coast then. Let a brother hold something. I just need a new pair of sneakers.
I'm pretty sure you changed his numbers. He was like,
I was in college at Rhode Island and Stetson, broke. Somebody get me his number.
Kenny.
I need some posters for my dorm room.
So he changed the number on you?
Yeah, he had to change the number on everybody.
Yeah.
The whole neighborhood needed a loan.
Yeah, 56 mil. I need a loan still. That's crazy.
It was the toast of the town. Like, as far as the numbers, it was he was at the top of the food chain. So, it was a big deal. And so you did very well in Portland. Your game opened up there.
Yeah.
They put the ball in your hands and let you kind of play.
Yeah, they let me play. I had Sabonis, Cliff Robertson, Rasheed Wallace. Those guys was awesome. But then I ran into Kobe Bryant and Shaq. It was rolling right now. We played them in the playoffs, and we did pretty well.
You couldn't catch a break.
We couldn't catch a break. We just kept playing against tough competition.
And we're here at Off the Fingertips. We're going to take a small commercial break. We're here with Kenny Anderson, my boy D Wade, Big Mike. We'll be right back with you.
Everybody, it's Dwayne Wade Sr. Want y'all to come out and be a part of our Father's Day weekend. Yes, it's going to be at North Miami Senior High School. Don't miss it. It's the 13th through the 16th. We're going to have a lot of activities, a lot of fun. As usual, it's going to be a great time. So don't miss it. Tell your family, tell your father, tell everybody to come out and be a part of one of the most wonderful Father's Day events that's ever thrown here in Miami.
I never thought or pictured myself as a teacher. But as I was given the opportunity to run and conduct
some volunteer programs in Miami-Dade public schools as well as Broward schools. It was an enlightening experience. There's a program called Response to Intervention, RTI, where students who are having difficulties socially, academically, and sometimes domestically are put in a bucket and they're worked with. They're enriched, they're remediated, and we continuously run that cycle. Coming in with my Latch-On program, leadership, academics, athletics, career development, health and wellness, twice a week, my responsibility was first to make a connection with that student, build trust, be relatable, be an excellent listener, be perceptive. I am the protege. We're back on Off the Fingertips Live with our special guest, number 12, Kenny Anderson, Big Mike, my boy D Wade.
So what we about to touch on right now, you know, we talked about your contract and things like that, but what advice and what mentorship do you have to players about saving their money? Like, how did you sustain yourself off the court?
Well, I would advise them guys to really talk to them. I used my mother, for example. My mom just wants to spend. She didn't, she was just like spend whatever. But then, my lawyers, they've been with me throughout my entire life. So they say, they say, hey, stop, slow down. You know what I'm saying? So they made me realize what was going on. And, now I'm able to stop, look around, see, hey, this is what we got. This is what we're using for and move on that way. But it's basically just budgeting,
Yeah.
and you're not going to do it no more. Period. It's just like
And then learning how to say no. Did you ever learn that, Kay?
Nah, I never learned how to say no, and I've learned how to say no now.
Yeah.
But I'm 48 years old now, so you got to say no, and you got to know how to spend your money. Period.
Yeah.
And by that I mean, how are you going to spend
Investments and things like that?
Investments is
Touchy.
that's touchy too.
Overrated.
That's touchy too. Investments and things of that nature that you don't know, that you're not sure of. You want to put your money into it and boom.
The projections that they give you on a lot of these investments,
Yeah.
these guys make it
Yeah.
every other week.
Yeah.
So your investment has to bring me more money than my salary.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, why would I get involved? And you hear that a lot from pro guys.
Yeah.
Are you involved in any businesses now?
No. Right now, I'm coaching at Fish University.
Okay.
I want to give back. I teach these guys not just play the game, but just live a certain way. That's what I've been. That's what I've been honoring. That's what I've been teaching. These
Building
guys.
the man, not the player.
Exactly. Exactly.
And on that coaching, you being a great player.
Yeah.
I've heard stories about Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, all came onto the bench at different points in their career, only to get the hell out of there in due time. And it's been said that great players have a difficult time coaching.
Well,
Do you feel that way?
see, I have my son, so I coached South Florida Elite.
Big Lou,
With Lou.
Lou
Lou's my
Vibes,
guy,
Far
but-
Rockaway, shout out, my man.
But then I keep moving up on a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it give me that way of teaching and sitting back and okay, they not knowing, they not getting it, right away. So we're just gonna keep, building this way, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm in the college game.
And for those that don't know, he's the head men's basketball coach at Fisk University, which is an HBCU in Nashville, Tennessee, and you'll be beginning your second season there in August, correct?
Yes, my second season, in
Is
August.
that Division II?
Division III.
Division
III?
NAIA.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a great school, and it's great for me to just give back. That's basically what I'm doing.
And speaking of giving back, Kay, you used to run the Kenny Anderson tournament in Left Rack, and
I know friends. We have friends. I know you've helped and your kids. And why is giving back important to Kenny Anderson?
You know, you know, just giving back. Just you know, when your mother or your father taught you when you grow, hey, give back. You know what I'm saying? So it's just been a form of righteousness. It's been instilled in me that just to give back is the right thing to do. Not the right thing, but the only thing to do, and that's what I've been doing.
And as far as mentors in your life, you know, we touched on a couple of names earlier, but you know, you're a mentor, but talk about some of the people that played an integral role in your life on your road.
You know, Vincent Smith has been big, you know, with me. He's Kenny Smith's brother. He's been
The mentor.
He called him the mentor.
Well, they nicknamed me the protege, so.
Yeah, mentor.
So the mentor has been there. You know, Vince been there forever with me. You know, he got sick earlier this year.
Yeah, he did.
And then you know,
Doing better now,
it
though.
was the worst because I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, what's
Yeah.
going on, man, with my man?
Yeah.
But you know, he was somebody that I
nervous.
looked up to, and you know, he's the one that got me right. You know, as far as basketball and school and everything, you know, even, you know, taught me how to do a tie, you know, when I was going to Archbishop Malloy.
Yeah.
We even sat and did a tie, you know.
You and
remember
I
that day.
worked in high school, remember? We
Yeah.
worked for Zena Jeans under
Yeah.
Dick Gilbert.
Dick
We actually
Gilbert.
had summer jobs in Manhattan in the garment district on 39th and Broadway. He ran a women's clothing line called Zena Jeans, which became paper denim and mud jeans. Talk about Dick, man. He was important to
Dick
both
was
of us.
very important to me in my life, and you know, he was there ever since, you know, ninth grade and on. You know, anytime he knew I needed a job, you know, that summer, you know, after 10th grade or 9th, I needed a job. He gave me one, and boom,
Yeah.
and we hit it off.
And he was always there for us,
Yeah,
you know, with
always.
important things. And the funny thing about being successful is it gets expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make this trip, you got to be on this show, you have to look presentable, you know, and he was just like an extension of our Archbishop Malloy High School family, running a successful clothing company, a major clothing company. It was a big deal to be able to work for him in the summer. One other person on a mentor, I noticed I've seen pictures in doing research that you had a chance to be mentored by Bill Russell when you were with the Celtics. What was it like being with the Celtics and Bill Russell?
Well, Celtics is great, man. I was there for 5 years. I was the point guard, so I was that guy. You know what I mean? And you know, being mentored by Bill Russell was just awesome. He would come in and talk and then give his speeches and things of that nature. You would just take a little bit and listen and take it and say, okay.
Yeah.
Just always, you know, enhance in what he was trying to get at. And you know, I love the guy for that.
A couple more questions before we wrap it up. Family and fatherhood. How difficult is it to be a pro athlete, be a husband, be a dad?
Oh, it's very difficult. You know, that's why a lot of guys finish up freely, and then go into, you know, marriage and things of that nature. You know what I mean? And that's something that I had a real slight problem with. You know, being how could I, you know, just, I'm not going to go there, but just being,
In the
you know,
moment,
with my,
present.
in the present, just being with my wife and my son and my daughter, just raising them to be wise.
So you've been able to spend a lot more time with your family post-NBA career. Has that been rewarding for you?
Oh, it's been very rewarding, just being able to teach them how to the do's and don'ts about life. You know?
Two things I want to ask you before we leave the show. Being able to reach out and touch that type of money,
Yeah.
how do you mentor kids that you're coaching today on going in that direction toward being a millionaire or being rich in life? How do you leave that message? How you leave that on them?
Well, you gotta tell them. All you could do is tell them your experiences.
Yeah.
You know what you did and how you was with yours. with your money at the time, and just carry it on by just giving them good advice. Hey, the do's and don'ts of what you should do and what you shouldn't do with your money.
And your documentary, Mr. Chibbs, really addressed all of those mentoring aspects incidentally, right? Was that a positive experience for you? Did it help you, help others?
Oh, man, Mr. Chibbs, the documentary was awesome. You need to go check that out, all of y'all. If you ain't,
Amazon, right?
You ain't there, Amazon. If you're not
Mr.
doing that,
Chibbs,
just
Amazon.
Just watch it, and you'll get the whole realm of what I'm trying to get at and tell people and how I lived, and it's just true. It's just truly, I was truly blessed, and I've been blessed my whole entire playing career, living career, just everything about my life, man. And I just couldn't do it no other way. You know what I mean? I've been blessed.
Wait, were you nervous, like revealing Mr. Chibbs? There was a lot of personal information in that. Was that a challenge for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge, but it needed to. I needed to come out and be clean and tell everybody, hey, boom, this happened to me. This is what it's about. And you could get help, and you could, better yourself with that.
I think Mike is going to take us out. No?
I don't take it. You've achieved so many great things. I want you to tell our audience, how was it to get out the league and not get depressed after having all that you accomplished in life?
Wow, not get depressed, get out. I was blessed, man. I don't know what else to tell nobody. Yeah. I was blessed. I played high school, college, pro. I don't know what else to tell nobody.
You was very decorated. Your career's decorated.
That's just what it is. Most guys, wait until college to play. If not, they go get drafted. Boom, they blow up and make them up. Boom. I've been making it my whole entire life.
Been the guy.
But that's all you knew, though.
That's all I knew, to play ball. And in a way, that's all I knew. I got tired of it. I got tired of it. That's all I knew, to play ball. I got tired of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At 35, I retired.
Yeah.
Now it's time for me to help others and give my shine to somebody else. And that's what it's all about.
One magic question. You played against Mike.
Yes, ask this, please.
You played against Kobe.
Yeah.
You played against LeBron. You've been a fan of the game your whole life. This is what you do. Who is your pick in the draft lottery if all three of those guys are coming out?
Who's Mike Jordan? I played. That's Michael Jordan. I'm putting him one, and then Kobe, LeBron, they fighting it out.
They fighting it out.
They battling.
Oh,
I don't
man.
know. They battling
Don't
out.
have Kobe
but I love
calling up
I
here.
love all their games. But I'm putting Mike. I'm putting Mike.
So Jordan over them two. I can't say that he played it with all three. So I can't really argue with anybody like this.
Yeah.
Well, if you're just tuning in or if you've been listening to the Wade Live, we've been talking to Mr. Kenny Anderson, the great number 12. And we appreciate you coming on the show, man. We couldn't have even did it no better than this, man, having you.
So authentic,
So we want to thank you for
love you,
coming on
Kay.
to our show, the Wadedifferent Live. And before we go, I do have a few shouts out because I know for Mother's Day we did not shout out to the mothers out there, and I don't have a mother, but to my wife Danielle, I wanted to shout out to her and Phyllis Clouch, all my nieces, all my sisters. I hope y'all all had a happy Mother's Day, and we wish all y'all many more.
My mom's birthday is actually tomorrow, so shouts out Miss Gail. Love you.
And
Happy birthday,
if
Miss
it's
Gill.
news around the world or sports around the world, it's probably being heard here on the Wadedifferent Live. Tune in next week, and don't forget to share us from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
This has been Off the
to
Fingertips.
Off the Fingertips with my boy, the protege.
It's official, baby.
Official.
Glad to have you on the show, Kay. I
It's
can't
been
tell you
great.
how
It's been
how
great.
beautiful
Thank
it is,
you
man.
for all you guys.
Love you, man.
Thank you.
And y'all doing a great.
And there you have it, Off the Fingertips, with your host, Jason Gilm Alexander. You also know me as a protege. I hope you've experienced the motivation, the education, the inspiration. That's what we do here, week in, week out. I hope to see you next week. Again, signing off. It's the Protege with Off the Fingertips.